Hello everyone, this is Mr. Brain Junkie here, and today we're going to be talking about a science fiction film called Sunshine. Be ready for some spoilers ahead. In the near future, humanity is in danger of extinction when our sun is beginning to die out. A previous mission named Icarus I attempted to use a massive nuclear bomb to restart the sun. For unknown reasons, their plans did not work and humanity has lost contact with their ship and astronauts ever since. A new crew of international astronauts used humanity's last resources to retry the previous plan and ignite the sun from within. They are in the close proximity of a communication dead zone, and Captain Kaneda tells everyone to send their last messages home before venturing forwards. Kappa, the physicist in their team, goes first to send his messages to all his family members, but struggles to formulate his thoughts. He wasted so much time that Mace, their engineer, did not have a chance to send his messages, and the two breaks out into a fight. Mace is made to have a psych evaluation with their psychologist Searle, who tells him to calm down for 2 hours in the Earth room and apologize to his teammate. His apologies were laughable at best, but Kappa accepts it as he knows that he was in the wrong as well. Their biologist Corazon manages to grow a self-sustaining plant garden, and she informs the captain that they will have more than enough oxygen for the round trip. The only thing that is worrying Kaneda is the last messages of the Icarus I crew, specifically their captain Pinbacker. His recordings show him talking about some dangerous philosophies right before they were supposed to deploy the payload, which may have caused their failure. As the team gets closer to the sun, they pass by Mercury, and the team is amazed at how beautiful the planet looks and how small it is compared to the sun. The communications officer Harvey tells the crew that they received a distress signal from Icarus I, thanks to Mercury's iron content, which acts like a transmitter. They wonder how that can be possible when their food should have ran out 4 years ago. From their current location, they are capable of changing their trajectory and rendezvous with Icarus I if they choose to. But the question is, should they take the risk? They can potentially acquire a second bomb, which doubles their chances of success at reviving the sun, since the technology is very experimental at best. They may also find out what caused the failures in the first team and prevent it from happening, not to mention saving their lives as well. But this also means greatly increasing their risks of failure, since many number of things can go wrong when they deviate from the plan, and if they fail, humanity fails with them. Captain Kaneda decides to leave this decision to Kappa, as he has the most knowledge about the inner workings of the bomb. After running some simulations, the computers are unable to calculate the success rate past a certain point, due to the massive gravitational field of the sun which distorts space and time. Kaneda pushes Kappa for an answer, and he reluctantly says yes to the plan. Kaneda seems happy with this decision, and they plot course to intercept with Icarus I. They slingshot their spaceship through Mercury's orbit, but soon the alarms come on as they rush towards the control center. Apparently, they're straying off from the plotted course. Trey, their navigator, explains that he forgot to readjust the sun shield to compensate for their new trajectory, even though he calculated everything correctly. Kaneda tells everyone to calm down, as they're still alive, meaning that the damages can very well be repaired. They need to go outside to assess the damages and repair them if necessary. Mace asserts that Kappa should go since it was his idea to change course. Kappa and Kaneda arrives at the sun shield, while their pilot Casey steers it halfway away from the sun, allowing it to be cool enough for them to examine the situation. They see that 4 panels have been damaged, but they're 400 meters apart. They begin to repair them one by one. But soon, Icarus begins steering the shield back to full sun automatically after the rays have damaged their oxygen compartment. Casey tries to steer it back to protect her teammates, but Kaneda stops her, as moving the shields now risks damaging the payload, which would make the mission a failure. Kaneda tells Kappa to return to the ship as he can finish this by himself. The sun rays move closer and closer to the captain as he finishes repairing the last panel. He looks at the oncoming flares and gets blasted into dust. Corazon goes to the oxygen garden only to see it in flames. With their oxygen compartment damaged, they now lack the necessary oxygen to make it to deployment, even disregarding the return trip. They have the option of killing 3 crew members, which will allow them to have enough oxygen for the deployment, but the crew refuses to lose their humanity so quickly. They now have no choice but to intercept with Icarus I, hoping that it has the necessary resources for them to complete their mission. Trey is put under suicide watch by Searle as he feels guilty about causing the captain's death. The team arrives at Icarus I and docks their ship into the entrance. They find that the interior is covered with black dust. The crew splits up to cover ground efficiently and finds that the oxygen garden and the payloads are undamaged. The only thing that isn't working is the flight module, which appears to have been sabotaged. This means that they cannot pilot Icarus I, making its payload useless. Mace also finds a very disturbing video of Icarus I's captain giving a speech about why humanity needs to die. It is very likely that he was the one who sabotaged the first mission. Sarah finds the remains of the crew in the observation room. It appears that they were burned to death as someone removed the sun filter. Suddenly, the ships begin shaking violently as their docking systems break off, leaving most of the crew stranded on Icarus I. They must leave the ship now as the breach has also punctured a hole in the ship, causing Icarus I to lose oxygen very quickly. Mace manages to find a spacesuit and puts it on Kappa because it's needed for the deployment of the payload. They also need a person to manually open the hatch from another room, but he would be left behind. They line up Icarus II with their hatch door, and the rest of the team wraps themselves in insulation. Cyril volunteers to stay behind and opens the door while the other 3 flies towards Icarus II, propelled by the pressure difference. Harvey gets knocked off into deep space, while only Kappa and Mace makes it back alive. Cyril spends his last moments in the observation room and gets burned alive with the departure of Icarus II. The team sits down and confirms that their docking station did not malfunction, so it was decoupled manually. The only person they think could have sabotaged it is Trey, but that's unlikely since he's on heavy medication. With 2 more people dead, they now only require 1 more death so they may arrive with enough oxygen. Although Casey disagrees, they plan to kill Trey in order to complete their mission. When they arrive to find Trey, he has already killed himself, probably due to his guilt of failing the mission. While performing a routine check for the payload, Kappa received a warning from Icarus II that they are in danger of failing the mission. The reason being that there is not enough oxygen for everyone because there are 5 people on the ship, but that's not possible unless someone came over from Icarus I. He heads to the observation room and finds a man with burns all over his body, sunbathing on the platform. Kappa recognizes him as Pinbacker, the captain of Icarus I. He begins talking about how humanity deserves to die and attacks Kappa with a blade. Kappa runs towards the exit, but gets trapped and locked behind a door. Pinbacker heads back and continues to sabotage the mission by taking the mainframe panels out of the coolant, which causes the flight systems to malfunction. He then goes to the oxygen garden where Corazon is lamenting, and stabs her from the back. His next victim is Casey, but she realizes something is wrong and escapes to find her teammates. Pinbacker catches up to Casey and eventually captures her. Mace notices a radio silence in the spaceship and sees that Kappa is trapped in the room. Kappa tells him that Pinbacker is on board and trying to sabotage the mission. Mace quickly goes to the mainframe where he attempts to manually lower them into the coolant, which requires him to submerge himself inside. He tells Kappa to find a way out and he must separate the payload from Icarus and deliver it manually to the sun. Mace tries to fix the computers again, but his leg gets trapped under the machine and he freezes to death. Kappa manages to open the hatch door with a flame torch, then decompressing the entire area, causing the door to fly out. He makes it to the control room and detaches the payload from Icarus II. He then opens the exterior hatch and jumps towards the payload while floating in space. By a feat no less than a miracle, he makes it onto the payload and sees the entirety of Icarus II blow up in the sun. Kappa heads towards the bomb's control room, but sees a bloody handprint on the wall, indicating that Pinbacker is already here. He finds Casey sitting on the floor by herself and runs over to ask her where Pinbacker is, to which she doesn't respond. Kappa is grabbed by Pinbacker right after and pushed towards the edge of the stadium. Before he's dropped to his death, Casey comes to consciousness and breaks him free. The two gets tossed away from Pinbacker as the gravitational fields begins distorting space inside the capsule. Casey tells Kappa to finish it as he sees Pinbacker freeze in time, indicating that they're heading towards a singularity. He runs towards the control module and turns on the detonation. Sparkles of light begins to appear as a new star forms from inside the room. The capsule reaches the sun's surface and melts through the wall. The flames rush towards Kappa as he takes his last moment and touch the surface of the sun. Back on Earth, Kappa's sister and her children looks towards the sky and sees that the sun has become much brighter. So what do you guys think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like my video, please press like and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys next time.